Hey everyone, today I'm joined by Rosa Goncalves from So Chic Homes by Rosa. And she's going to talk to us today about something that I think is very important, and we say it all the time to sellers, and that's staging. Staging isn't necessarily what everybody thinks it is. Everybody thinks that staging is just taking out all your furniture and bringing in all this pretty furniture, but that's not necessarily the case. And Rosa's going to tell us today a little bit about her business and a little bit about how important it is to declutter, because it's something that most realtors say as soon as they walk into a home, if it needs it.
So I was in the interior design business for almost 20 years. So I do know a lot about placement and the correct flow that a home should have. Not only that it feels spacious, but that it's also functional.
Right.
As far as staging, there are so many packages available. It can be, a lot of people think if they live in the home, staging is not an option. It is an option.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's unoccupied staging, which is either new construction, renovated homes, or sometimes there's even sellers that moved out into their new home
Which
already.
as an agent, people do look at that too. They walk into an empty home and it's just so hard for them to picture things. Some people have a creative mind and they can do it. But some people walk in and it's just like, oh, it looks so empty and bland.
Right. And you know what? After doing this now for 5 years, I don't even think yes, that's the obvious, right? Is that someone walks into a home and they feel like they can envision where their sofa will go, the placement of the furniture. I think now it comes down to also a feeling, right? Like there's a different feeling when you walk into a home that feels like home than walking into an empty property, right?
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. First, like I said, it feels warm, it feels inviting, it feels like a home. Also, when you have open houses and you have showings, buyers will tend to hang out a little bit more because they're getting a feel of the home.
Yep. They're sitting down on the furniture.
And then when it's empty, they're just really, number one, they're focusing on little things, right? Either there's a chip on the molding or there's a scratch on the floor.
That's actually a good point, how much the furniture actually covers up.
Right. And not even covering up, again, it's that feeling that people are not focusing on the little things where they can focus more on the space of the home. That it's functional, where they can have a sectional and have 2 chairs, and because believe it or not, sometimes when it's empty it does look smaller, right?
Yep.
So it's all about perception, but for me, I felt like recently, like the staging is more like, the market has shifted a little bit, and I think when it's staged, it feels like at home, but it's not personalized. And I think also when an occupied home, staging, it's important when I walk in and I tell people, okay, it's not a big deal, but take down your family photos.
Right. That's another good point. People walk into a home and they see, pictures of family, and it makes it hard for them to
connect with the home.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so when you have beautiful little decor out, but no pictures, nothing that's really personalized, like Giants or soccer,
and I've seen that happen before.
Right.
People walk in and they're Boston fans, and you have all this Yankee memorabilia, and it's like
So what I do is with owner occupied homes, I do a lot of consultations where I'll spend an hour with the buyer, walk through the home. I always explain to them in the beginning, this has nothing to do about how you decorated your home. It has nothing to do with family. It doesn't have to do with that. I walk through the home as if I'm the buyer.
Right.
And then what is distracting me?
Right. So and it does come down to a lot of it comes down to utilizing the space correctly. Like you said, it's not about your furniture or how it looks.
No.
It's about making the room look as big as possible. Not having all this, even if it's a dining room and you have this china that's huge, and then it's like, oh, this room looks so small, but sometimes people don't think that it's just.
That's why with owner occupied staging, it's so important when I walk through, and that's what I explain to a lot of sellers, and they understand it. I know some things aren't functional, right? Like if you live in the home, you do need maybe an extra 4 accent chairs because you have a big family.
Right.
But when I walk through, any time that I have to divert or move away because something is in my way, then I already know subconsciously when a buyer is walking through a home, if they have to start diverting a lot or squeeze through somewhere,
Right.
then right away they get that impression that was kind of small. It's all about the flow. When you walk through your house, you should not have to move away or have to squeeze through a walkway or a hallway or a doorway. Like everything should flow where people are walking through freely
Right.
and they don't feel like, okay, that was kind of small. Like I won't fit my furniture in there. And most of them understand that. Like I might get resistance at first, right? Because it's still your home. If someone walks in and says, well, that accent chair doesn't belong there, you have to take it out, they get a little resistant.
right, yeah.
But I think sometimes when I explain to them, I'm just walking through like the eyes of a buyer and the feeling, anything like if there's a wall that has too many pictures and my eyes are going to it, I'm going to tell them, you need to take that down.
There's a lot of ways to market your house. And, we spoke about some of them today. But again, just going back, I think staging or at least, speaking to somebody about decluttering your home is 100% important and something you have to do as a seller.
And you have to do because you're moving anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Just think of it that way.
Right,
I'm going to have to
absolutely.
pack up this stuff anyway
Yeah.
because I'm moving.
Yep.
So that's the best way to look at it because then it gets them moving.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank you, George.
for sharing, so much information with everybody today, and
You're welcome.
look
Anytime.
forward to working together.
Thank you, George.